Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your favorite girl, Akonna. So guys, since I posted the last video of how I moved to Japan, you guys have inundated me with questions like, Akonna, how will I move to Japan? Are there other options for me? Are there other routes for someone to move to Japan? Well, what am I here for? As your sister's keeper, I decided to make this video to talk about other possible routes that are available for someone to move to Japan through. So guys, but before I start, please, for those at the back and for everybody here, I need to make this announcement. Please, I hope those at the back can hear me. I am not an immigration, or travel agent. Please, I am none of these. I'm just a simple Nigerian living and studying in Japan, and I'm just here to share some information I have. I would help you migrate to Japan. So please do your research. Google is your friend. Do your extensive research before you make this kind of life-changing decision. Thank you. So guys, there are many categories of visas in Japan. So you have the highly skilled professional visa, working visa, general visa, diplomat visas. Like, the visa categories are just too wide. So I'll try as much as I can to touch on student visa and working visa, but I'll give more detailed explanation on student visa for obvious reasons. So guys, if you want to move to Japan, you should ask yourself this question first. Why am I moving to Japan? This would help you know the kind of visa to apply for. So when you've answered this question, so let's say for instance you want to come to Japan as a student. You want to study in Japan. Okay, let's start with this. So let's say you want to do your master's or your PhD. Oh, I'm sorry, for people who are interested in undergraduate studies, I really do not have so much information about that. I'm not familiar with that route because I came for my master's, and many people I know here came for their graduate studies too, for either master's or PhD. So I'm sorry, I don't have so much information about undergraduate studies. So if you're here for master's studies, come closer. Just come closer. Yes, stay glued to your phone. Let's carry on. So for the student visa, I'm going to give you like an outline, a step-by-step guide on how things work, how the process goes until the point of getting a visa and moving to Japan. So first things first, you have to search for a school. Yes, you have to search for a university. When you search for a university, you can also narrow it down to things that are peculiar to you. Maybe if you like to live in a cold region, you can search for it. If you like to live in a place that has a warmer climate, good for you. Or just for things that you feel would help you survive better in Japan, you can narrow your search down to that. Maybe down to schools in southern Japan, schools in northern Japan, schools in western Japan, things like that. So when this is done, this is number one. Then step two. Within these schools that you have found now, search for those that offer your intended course of study. Of course, yes. Even if you search for schools, that doesn't mean that all of them would offer your intended course of study. You might find some schools you like and then they do not offer your course. So you have to also, now that you found the schools, narrow your search down to those that offer your intended course of study. And then when you've done this, number three is to search for a supervisor. But here, I would add a clause. I'm not sure if all study programs require you to search for a professor before the application begins. I'm not very sure about that, but this guide I'm giving you is based on how my own process went. So this is what I'll be talking about. So search for a professor, send emails. If you watch my last video of how I moved to Japan, you realize I mentioned about getting rejections. So guys, prepare your mind. You may or may not get rejections, but just prepare your mind for anything. It's 50-50. You may get responses or you may not get responses. You may get positive or negative responses. So just prepare your mind for it. So you have to start sending emails to professors. Spread your wings. Don't focus on one school. Spread your wings across different schools. Send them emails mentioning your intention to join their team and wait for their responses. So if you're lucky and you get a positive response, good luck. Let's continue to the next step. So then for this next step, you're basically going to be behind the scene while your professor is the one doing the whole work, because he or she is going to serve as the link person between you and the school. So the whole underground job here will be done by the professor. So here you will just sit back a bit and relax, but don't relax too much because you will also be doing a lot of communication with the professor. You'll be sending lots of mails, receiving lots of mails. The person might need so much documents from you to process whatever they need to do in school. And so then after this comes the next step, which is writing the entrance examinations. Also for this, there is a clause. I am not 100% sure that all schools require entrance examinations. I am not sure, but for most of the schools, you have to write an entrance examination. And this is usually in English for international students. You write the examination, and then if you're lucky and you pass and you get selected, on to the next step. Because passing is one thing, getting selected is another thing. This is because, let's say there's a cutoff mark of 80, and then they need 5 students only. So imagine if you score maybe 82, and then you're number 7 on the list. You might not be chosen. So passing is one thing, getting selected is another thing. So now that you've been selected, congratulations, on to the next step. So the next step will be waiting to receive your admission letter and COE. COE stands for Certificate of Eligibility. So this document is what you'll be required to go to the embassy with, and this document like certifies that yes, you're coming to Japan for legal reasons, you have a sponsor, which is the university, yes, you have someone who is going to guide you, which is a professor, like whatever you're coming to do is legitimate. So it just shows that yes, this person is qualified to come into Japan. So when your COE is sent to you an admission letter, these are going to come in the paper forms, hard copy forms, because at the embassy they're going to require the hard copy form. So you can just make a photocopy of it and keep for yourself for reference purposes. So when you get the COE, now you head over to the embassy. So in most cases, people who get COEs have a 90% chance of getting the visa. I say 90% because there are always exceptions. But from my experience, I haven't seen anyone who received a COE and they didn't get a visa. It's very unlikely, but there could be exceptions, just like every other thing in life. So now that you've gotten your COE, head over to the embassy, apply for your visa. Usually for the Embassy of Japan in Nigeria, it takes 5 working days. So it might be plus or minus, depending on if your documents are okay, and if there are any holidays in between, it might be longer. And if it's also a busy period, like maybe Christmas time or New Year, it might also take longer time. So this is this for that. But also, I missed something in between. After searching for schools and your intended course of study, you'd also have to decide if you want to go through the scholarship route or the self-financed route. I always advocate for people to come through scholarships. Like, it saves you a whole lot of stress. Like a whole lot of stress, basically, both financially and otherwise. Like, say for instance, you come through that MEX scholarship I mentioned in my last video. If you haven't watched it, it's going to be up here somewhere. If you come through the MEX scholarship, they're going to pay for your arrival and return tickets. They're going to give you monthly stipends, and then they just make things generally easier for you, and then you get to save. But you can also choose to come as a self-sponsored student. It's up to you if you have the financial capability to do that. You can also take that route. So that's also left for you. I actually came as a self-sponsored student. I didn't come under any scholarship. So now that you've decided that if you have chosen the scholarship route, you basically have to start searching for scholarships all over the internet, or within the school or within your course of studies. Some scholarships can be school specific or course specific or country specific. These are very common, and then you can also have some that are all encompassing for different nationalities, like the Japanese MEX scholarship I mentioned about. So if you're planning to study in Japan, you can just keep searching for when there's an opening or when there's a call for scholarship under Japanese MEX. Now that you've had that, the next step is applying for these scholarships, and if you're lucky to be picked, you go for the entrance examination, and then you continue with the other steps that I mentioned earlier. Another branch of student visa would be coming to study Japanese. Yes, most Japanese language schools offer admissions to international students and then serve as a sponsor for them to come to Japan to study Japanese language. But I'm not sure there are scholarships available for that. This one, you're going to come fully prepared to sponsor yourself and take care of your expenses while living in Japan. Sorry guys if my voice is not so clear. The weather is messing up with me, so it's always like this during the season for me. My voice is always crooked. So for the language schools, there are usually little or no scholarships. I'm not sure of any scholarship available for language school options anyway, but people usually come through these routes. And the good thing about these routes is that you get to learn the language very easily, because you're going to spend about 1 year, or depending, I don't know how long you want to spend, but you're going to spend a lot of time learning the language. So you would obviously be more fluent in the language than maybe someone like me who's just learning on her own or just taking classes once in a while online. And with this, you may be able to find a good job later on after graduation. So people usually come through this route. So if you're interested, just give it a try. Still under the student's visa, there's also another option, which is the Japanese Teachers Training Program. So this is specifically for teachers anyway. So for countries that have bilateral relationship with Japan, so Japan gives a call for applications for teachers in that country to come to Japan, more like an exchange program, and study in Japan, learn about Japanese culture, not just the language, learning the language, the culture, the curriculum, and how the teaching profession itself works in Japan. And then they go home and also impart that knowledge to their home country. So this is usually like an agreement where you must have to return back home. So they sign an agreement or a pact stating that after learning this and accumulating all this knowledge about Japan, you have to go home and share it as well with people in your home country. Another branch is the Student Exchange Program. It's funny that many people do not know about this. I didn't even know that Nigeria had such a relationship with Japan, where people in school, like if you're currently an undergraduate, you can actually come to Japan maybe for 6 months and do an exchange program and go back to Nigeria and continue your studies. Like, you don't have to migrate fully to Japan. You can just do an exchange program for a short period of time, and then it doesn't like change the number of years you're supposed to spend in school. I didn't know that something like this existed until I came here, and then I heard about it. So you can also check that out and see if it works for you. So now that we are done with student visa, so I know some of you are already like, Akuna, what's up with the working visa? Not all of us are willing to study anymore. Well, I'm here for you. So for the working visa, there are a whole lot of categories under working visa. There's a long-term period, there's a short-term period, there's this highly skilled professional work visa. These are, just like the name sounds, it's for highly skilled professional people. Maybe people in, specific fields like IT, medical, just very highly skilled professionals. But I don't have so much information about that. But I will talk about the other opportunities that I am aware of. So obviously, if you're planning to move to Japan for work purposes, you have to find a job before coming to Japan. This is like a must, it's not negotiable. This is where job search websites comes in. So in Japan, there are some job websites that are very common, like the Gaijin Ports, the Indeed Japan, the Jobs in Japan, Daijob, and Japan Career. There are still other job search websites, but these are the most popular ones that I know. So I'll just list them somewhere on the screen for you guys to just check them out. So here you can find many job opportunities, like in different cities, different things. You can just narrow it down to maybe the city you want and the job position you're looking for, and some other things that you might want to check out for. So guys, people actually find jobs using this job search website. So it's very helpful. Just check it out, search for the jobs, impute a title, and then it would give you like opportunities that are available or any openings around in Japan, and then you can start from there. So another branch of this work visa is going to be the language teaching job. Basically, all the foreigners that I know that found jobs in Japan from overseas are into these language teaching jobs. Like most of them teach English language. So under these language teaching jobs, there are different programs and different ways to come through it. So there's this one called the JET program, the most famous and the most credible language teaching job you can find in Japan. This JET program is sponsored by the Japanese government. So the JET stands for Japan Exchange and Teaching Program. So sponsored by the government, like I mentioned earlier, and this is usually on contract basis. It's usually 1 year when you just arrive Japan, then over time you can renew it up to 5 years, and this is usually targeted towards native English speakers who would come to Japan and teach English. You already know that Japan is not an English-speaking country, so just to boost their English-speaking ability, they need, native English speakers that would come and teach English. But sometimes not just English, but English is the most popular one amongst it. They also recruit people languages like French and German and some other languages that are quite popular, but English tops the list. Then I heard the salary is good, and then they assign you to different locations as ALT, assistant language teacher. Then you have paid holidays as well. The next one is teaching at private language schools. Yes, this is very common too. Some private language schools are willing to sponsor foreigners to come and teach in their schools, English language most of the times. And these are very common in popular cities like Tokyo, Osaka, very big cities. So most of these language schools have branches in many places, maybe even in the rural or urban areas. These private language schools include ECC, Ion, GABA, Nova, Berlitz. I will list them right here. These are the ones that I know. You can also check the internet for more options too. So you search for them online, you apply. If you're lucky, you're chosen. They will sponsor your visa to come to Japan. But I'm not sure they sponsor your flight anyway, but they sponsor like your working visa, and then you come to Japan and work, earn, and take care of yourself. So still on working visa, the next one will be international schools. Yes, most international schools are also willing to sponsor foreigners to come to Japan and teach English, most especially. You can see that most of the available jobs in Japan are usually teaching jobs, which are also very nice. For most of these international schools, they require like professional teachers already, like people who have already the teaching experience, who are qualified to teach, people who have certifications like TEFL, teaching English as a foreign language. That's the most popular certification for English teachers in Japan. So if you're planning to teach English, or if you already have an experience teaching English, maybe you can try to check them out and see if you're required to write that exam. So you might be saying, all of these are teaching jobs. Yes, most of the popular jobs for foreigners here are actually teaching jobs, especially if you're coming from overseas. But for those who are residing here already, there are other options available for them. So the next one that is not a teaching job is blue collar jobs. So sometime, I don't know how many years ago, but not so long ago, Japan started this internship program where they invite foreigners from some countries that they have bilateral relationship with to come and do like a technical intern training program. But I'm not sure if this allows you to further stay in Japan for a long period of time or for the specific time that your internship program works. But I know that one thing about this is that once you've already come to Japan, gather this experience, even if you go back home, you can always use that experience to apply for another job in Japan, and if you're lucky, they might be able to sponsor you to come work full-time for them. So just check this one out, guys. It's been sponsored by Japanese government, but due to COVID, I'm not sure if it's still on at the moment, but just check it out. It's the Technical Intern Training Program. Yes, that's the title. I'll write it down somewhere here too. And also, to further arm yourself with more information, please check out the Japanese Ministry of Foreign Affairs website. They have details about different categories of visas and things that are required for each category. So just check them out. You have more detailed information than what I'm offering you right now. I'll also write the website in the description box below. And also, talking about description box, in the last video I mentioned people should check out the link in the description box too, and I realized that many people don't know where the description box is. So you see that place where the title of this video is written? There is a drop down menu as this way. Just click on that drop down menu. It would show you the description of this video just down there. But if you're watching this on a laptop, you don't need to click on any drop down menu. Once you see the title, below it you will see the details of the video in the description box. That is all about the description box. Also, there are visa opportunities for entertainers like sports people, musicians, artists, photographers, models. I think these ones deal with agencies, like you have to reach out to an agency that is willing to sponsor your visa, then you come. I don't know if it's only for short-term stay or if there's an opportunity to extend it to a longer term. If you're interested, you can just maybe read in details about it on the Foreign Affairs website. So you see, there are actually different opportunities and ways to come to Japan. So just check them out and know if there's anyone that suits you. Good luck on your search. So guys, if you found this information useful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And also, are you planning to move to Japan, maybe for studies or for work purposes? Please don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section. I would like to hear about it. And if you're interested in knowing more about Japan, like life as a foreigner in Japan, please don't forget to check out my other videos too, where I've shared my experiences so far in Japan. I'll also keep uploading with time and take you guys on this journey with me. Thank you. Bye.